You know, it's really common for recruiters to overhype jobs and make it sound like you're going to be in Top Gun or some Call of Duty Halo action movie adventure. And it's rarely the case that it's going to be true. For Master at Arms, a lot of times recruiters make it sound like you're going to be jumping out of airplanes and kicking down doors and operating in Riverine squadrons like you're in Apocalypse Now. But that's not how it is, at least not in my experience. Like, I chose MA, I said if I can't be an MA, I'm not going to join the military, and they gave it to me. And I thoroughly enjoy my job, I enjoy my coworkers, it's the easiest and best job I've ever had, and I thank God every day that I've had the opportunity to earn it. But people that I've actually worked with here were clearly misled by recruiters, misled by Google searches as to what Master at Arms actually is and what they do. So we're going to take an honest look at what it's actually like to be a Master at Arms in the US Navy. And I'm going to start off with a general statement, which is the job is going to be what you make it. If you come in here with a clear slate, like I'm going to learn a lot, I'm going to come in with low expectations, you know, if you look for the good of the job, you're going to see plenty of good. And if you want to be miserable and you look for things to make you miserable, I guarantee you, you're going to get your wish. You're going to be very miserable. I came here with the attitude that after my last job, nothing can possibly be worse. The last job I had, nothing can possibly be worse after that. And I came in here and boot camp was like paradise. A school was, you know, whatever. And once I finally got out to the real world again, it was like, this is actually really cool. Like, it's easy, it's fair, I work with good people. You know, the job itself, you know, it's not going to be an action movie, but I'm comfortable here. And it's turned out to be pretty much exactly what I expected because I had low expectations coming in. But if someone else comes in and they think they're going to be doing something insane, they're going to be jumping out of airplanes and kicking down doors, they're going to be severely, severely disappointed when they get out into the real world again, actually performing the job they've been trained for. When you first join, just like other ratings, you're going to join and just become a blank slate. Like, you come out of A school and you know the very, very basic training that they've given you to do the minimum level of your job in order to progress later on out in the real world. You can learn from people kind of on the job to some degree, and you get qualled up at your first command to do better things later on than when you first start. Depending on where you go, you're going to have a completely different experience. So I can't talk generally speaking about everything, because if you go to Florida as your first command, or if you go to Spain or Japan or a ship, you're going to have a completely different experience because the culture of the command, the chain of command, like how people talk to each other, how strict or lenient the chain of command is, like the culture of like getting promoted, what kind of programs they have, what different qualifications they have. Like, the qualifications here are not the same as on a ship or at a PRP command. Like, it's all different. So I can't make general blanket statements about everything because I haven't seen everything, first of all, and because if I did, I'd be wrong. Every single place you go to is going to be trained a little bit differently because the role you play at that place is going to be different. So just adopt whatever command you're at is telling you, or even the person in front of you, what the training team of that command is telling you. That's the way it's done. Forget everything else. And when you leave there and you go somewhere else, adopt the training and policies of that command. Get your qualifications at the command when you get there. Like, when you first show up, you're going to be put on the post that other people don't like. And that's what happened to me here. It's perfectly normal. When you're brand new, you have to do your time on the posts that people know are not comfortable or not going to be the most popular. I got my qualifications. I got better posts later on. And if I kept going, I have the opportunities to move on to different departments. So eventually, if you do your time, you can move on to harbor units like Austin Alexander did. He started off as landside, and in his words, he got a lot happier when he moved from landside to harbor. You can also move to K9. You can move on to other things. And also, at the same time that you're moving side to side from landside to K9 or harbor or other things, you're also moving up. And the more senior you get, you know, the easier post you're going to get and the more fun you can possibly have at work. At the same time all of that's happening, I want to stress the reality that if you work a military security job, it's not wildly different than working a civilian security job. A couple of times on this channel, people have commented like, you should make a US Navy Master at Arms a day in the life video. And somebody very wise put a reply on there. They put, "That's going to be the most boring video on this channel," and I left a heart on it because that person knows. Now, security is a blessing in disguise because you want it to be boring and quiet and nothing to happen, because the alternative is danger and bad things happening, and who wants that? So like a typical day goes something like this. I know it's going to be very, very shocking. You wake up, you take a shower, you go to work, you do your job, you pull a couple chairs together, you sit down, you start talking, you do the paperwork, you do your job, and you pack your stuff up and you go home. Shocking, I know. When you show up to post, hopefully you're on a post with other people, because it makes it a lot easier and a lot more fun, because you get to talk to each other, and a lot of the same questions keep coming up, like, when did you join? Why'd you join? Why'd you pick MA? Like, where were you before this? Meaning as a civilian. What other commands have you been to before here? And it's like, yeah, I've been to Japan and these 2 ships and this and that. And, like, what are you going to do after the Navy? What are you going to do with your life? Like, do you have a girlfriend and stuff like that? All kinds of questions like that are asked on post, and eventually with the different combinations of people on the different posts, eventually everybody kind of knows everything about each other. But at the same time, you have to be careful about what you share, because if you tell one person, it can travel around the entire base. And if you want to, trust like maybe 1 or 2 people specifically to be like your best friends, then go ahead and do that. You can actually trust a few people with certain information about like how you feel about certain things or whatever, personal things that you trust with a real friend. You got to be careful about what you say to who, because if you say something to someone, all of a sudden the whole base knows about it, and they're like, "Hey, I heard that you did this and that, and I heard that you said this over at this post," and it's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that got out," So just be careful. There is actual work to be done. Like if you stay landside, we check IDs. You can do law enforcement duties. Some commands have like patrol cars, like you would expect from like a police department. They have patrol cars. They have a brig, which is the Navy jail. If you're on a ship, they have their own duties. If you're K-9, you got the dogs. They have their own duties. If you're harbor, they have their own patrol boats and stuff. They have all of their own qualifications and different ladders of things that you can attain. Everybody does their role. So you're not going to be in some kind of an action movie. Although the odds are there, that things can pop off. And I hope that it doesn't happen. If that's what you're hoping for, I hope you're wrong. Because if things pop off, that means that people are getting hurt and killed. Like there's intruders on the base, there's terrible things happening, people are at a risk of dying, and who wants that? The alternative is what people usually see, which is a couple of MAs sitting there, and they're sipping their energy drinks, they're eating their Cheetos, and they're checking IDs. What's wrong with that? The boringness and the monotony, is what we're striving to keep. The alternative to that order is chaos, and who wants that? The order and the boringness is what we're there to keep. So the boringness and the quietness, the Q word, is a good thing. It's what we're there for. And as long as it stays boring and it stays the Q word quiet, which you should never say on post, good. There is a tremendous amount of responsibility on every single Master at Arms that wears the badge, because your authority comes directly from the commanding officer of the base, and you're the first line of defense to anything that happens to the base. And even though we joke and we kid, every time something happens on a Navy base, you see the Master at Arms on that base do the right thing. Some of them have given their lives, like Mark Mayo, MA2 Mayo, MA2 SEAL Mansour. They have given their lives. Some of them have been Medal of Honor recipients all the way back to the Civil War. I don't think we really think about this every day when we grab an energy drink and a candy bar for dinner, but it's true. You're the first line of defense of the base. But 99% of the time, it feels like nothing, because nothing's happening. It's a routine. It can get boring. It can get monotonous. It can get repetitive. But once again, that's the goal, is to keep it that way. I've really made some good friendships with the MAs that I work with, and I'm going to keep in contact with them for many years now. And I've already kept in contact with people from other bases. But the responsibility is real. And the sacrifice that you're going to make regardless of if something happens or not. The distance from your family, the loss of contact with, your home, your family, the stuff you're familiar with. Like here, I never thought that I would miss grass. I never thought that I would miss a couple of fast food joints that are not here. I never thought that I would miss like clean air and water. I never thought I would be in a position to miss the United States itself. Like it's different and it's normal. Every single person feels it. You're not weird if you miss America. You're not weird if you miss your girlfriend, you miss your wife, you miss your dog. And it gets even harder when things are happening at home that you can't respond to. But at the same time, we have internet. We can video chat with people. We can text people. It's not the same as World War II where a service member leaves and like they're gone for 2 years and just never come back. And all you get is like a paper letter in the mail. It's a lot better now than it was in World War II or Vietnam or something. But it's still hard, and it can be a lot harder on some people than others. Now, I can't complain. This is the easiest job I've ever had. My family is basically just my mother. That's my whole family. And I only have like a pretty small but rock solid, tight friend group that I've maintained. And I'm technically homeless right now, so I don't really miss home that much. But for other people, I can see it's really difficult. And if you're not ready for that, it's okay. There's a lot of other jobs out there besides the military. But I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. But I hope this cleared up some of the Hollywood fog around this job. And if this is the right path for you, it was definitely the right path for me. I'm thankful every day to God that I had the opportunity to earn what I have here. And the point of this channel is to open the door for people and provide information for free. If this is the same correct path for you, come on. But if you get the information that I'm putting out and you say, you know what, this might not be right for me, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And you can go do something else. But for me, this probably saved my life. And I would highly recommend it if it's right for you. But if you look at this information and you say it's not right for you, that's okay too.